Hi. Welcome to this week's episode of Funny Things That Happen to Real Estate Agents. I'm glad you can join me. We're live here every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time on both Facebook and on the YouTube channel. So please share, like, follow, do your thing, and spread the word. So tonight I have a special guest from Pennsylvania. Her name is Deni Supplee. I have to really work on pronouncing that because I'll screw it up. So I'll bring her on in a minute. Let's get started. Okay, so without further ado, here is Deni. Hi, Deni.
Hi, Sam. How are you?
Good. I told you earlier, I absolutely love your name. I think it's so fun. Deni. D-E-N-I. It's just like Demi Moore. Demi Moore. You caught
with an N.
Yeah. So you're in Pennsylvania.
I am. I'm in the suburbs of Philly.
Nice. I've actually talked to quite a few agents in that area.
Really?
They must all like me. Or something. I don't know.
We're the brotherly, city of the brotherly love, right?
Yeah, the last one I talked to, I asked them, I said, so how much snow do you guys have? And they're like, oh, we don't have very much. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I said, we just got dumped on, we got 5-6 inches on the ground. They're like, oh, well, we have 10 to 15. I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's just a little bit.
Oh man, this year was terrible for snow. Really bad.
Yeah. So you've been in the business for a long time.
Yes.
Well, not selling, but you've been in property management and everything else. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I got involved in my early 20s. I first got licensed and entered selling and decided that I liked some of the other areas. So I ended up mostly in property management, real estate investing, tech, and a little bit of everything. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I got my just desire to go back out and work with people. So I started selling again. It's been fun.
Yeah. Well, you came back at a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't actively, it's terrible to say this, but I have Spark Rental. So I have another business, but, so I'm not active. I don't pursue customers, but I'm there for people that I know. So, It's been fun that way. I think when I was in my 20s, I thought I was going to get out of school and make millions just like that by sitting at a desk, and
right.
It didn't quite happen that way.
Right.
But it definitely was worth it. I love real estate, always have.
Yeah. So you've been in it for a long time. Probably one of the longest people I know that has been in it. So I'm not calling you old. I'm just saying you've been in it.
Oh, no, I'm going to be old. I'm going to be old.
You're going to be old. Not old yet.
Be old.
So Spark Rentals, is that like apartment rentals or what is that?
Spark Rental is more of a it's a website, and we have an application that automates property management for landlords and real estate investors.
Okay.
And we also do a lot of educational courses, and we also do a Facebook Live show on Tuesdays, just answering the questions and helping people who want to become real estate investors in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's something I've always been interested in. I remember years ago, this was decades ago, I remember a company calling my dad asking if he wanted in on investing in a hotel.
Wow.
And my dad's not a risk taker. So he turned it down. And I'm like, man, we could have been rich.
And had a really cool place to stay.
Yeah, I know. We could have stayed at any of the chain, but no, he said no. But yeah, that was my first taste of, I always wondered how they funded those things. Like it wasn't just one person, but now I realize that no, it's multiple people usually pooling their money together.
Right.
To build motels and stuff. So that's cool. All right. So anything else you want to tell us before we jump into your stories?
No, I think that if you're in Philly, look me up, Deni Supplee, and, pop over to Spark Rental and give us a checkout.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check it out too, just because I'm curious. I'm not in your area, but I'm curious.
Well, Spark Rental is national. We're everywhere.
Is it?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. All right, so let's dive into your stories. So your first one, you're similar to me. We're kind of vertically challenged, meaning we can't stay on our feet.
Yes.
So what happened?
Big time. Well, it was at an open house, and it couldn't have been just like a rickety little house. It had to be one of those really fancy houses with the fancy people walking around. And I was walking down steps, and people were behind me, and I went rolling down the steps. And you hear all the "ooh, ah," and it's bad enough that it hurts, but then you hear that, and you're like, and I just immediately popped up, and I was hurting. And
So what were you wearing?
I was wearing a skirt. I didn't have the same as my skirt only went up a little bit, so I was good
Right.
there.
You
Or
were
at least what I
spared.
remember. Yeah, the fear and the embarrassment, I think, were
Yeah.
worse. Which would have been worse, I guess, if my skirt really rode all
Right.
the way up.
That pride sure takes a beating, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. So,
I
needless to
picked mine
say, I
up
didn't
plenty of
sell
times.
that house.
You didn't sell the house?
Didn't sell the house. No, I went
Well, you
through that
tried
for
pretty
nothing.
hard.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. Way embarrassing.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's why I'm so floored by people that tell me that they've never fallen. Because I trip on
I
everything. You said you trip a lot.
all
It's
the
just,
time, all the time.
yeah.
So do my daughters. My daughter, you know what? My son's not a big klutz, but girls are always falling and tripping. I'm not going to say it's a woman thing, but
Like,
I'm wondering.
yeah, people tell me my kids don't look much like me, and then I see my daughter fall down the driveway, and I'm like, there I am. I'm in there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. So then you had an interesting thing happen at a showing with a young child. Was it a young
yeah,
child?
well, a preteen. It
Oh,
was a
okay.
preteen,
That was
so
a great age.
a young child, it would have really been horrible.
Right.
It was bad enough. We're walking around the house, and all of a sudden we hear, "Mom, Mom!" And I'm like, "Oh no!" And we go rushing to where she is, and she's like in this family room, and it was surrounding like the fireplace, and we're looking, and we're like, "What?" And she goes, "Look at these pictures," and I can't. It took me forever to get the images out of my head because all I could think of is, were these the people that lived in this house? And they were just naked pictures of, the people
So
maybe who lived there.
they weren't like in frames. They were just like spread out on the floor.
Oh yeah, they were just thrown all over the floor. Yeah, yeah. No, they weren't proudly displayed. Thank God.
Yeah, the guest last week, she had naked pictures in frames all over the house she was at, but this one was just like thrown on the floor.
Oh yeah, and they were really inappropriate pictures. They weren't even like posed. So
Right.
yeah. So that was we took her out of there, and I locked up, and I was like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they buy that house?
No, we didn't even finish looking. I was afraid of what else we were gonna find. Like
They haven't even made it to the bedroom yet, so there's no telling.
serious.
Oh, that's funny. That has not happened to me yet. So knock
Oh
on wood, I'm good so far. So,
man.
and then what's this about caged animals?
Oh, I was showing a house, and she actually bought this house, but we're walking around the house, and we kept hearing this squeak, like little squeaking of well, yeah, sound like a little animal somewhere. But we were looking, and we didn't see anything, and then we're in the basement, and we definitely hear it. And all of a sudden, we go into the corner, and it gets louder, and we see this rat is a rat, but it was in a cage, so apparently a pet rat. So we both. She was one sitting in a cage, screaming at us like, "How dare you!" So we ran like mad out of the house.
Was it like an aquarium?
Or no, it was an actual wired cage.
Okay.
Yeah. There was even, I think there was like a blanket in there. It was really weird.
Somebody's pet for sure. I always get wary when I walk into a house and I see an aquarium with a light. I usually like back out of the room and find the owner to find out what's in that aquarium before I finish going in there. Because if it's a snake, or
Oh,
something. I'm
yeah.
not going in that room.
Well, usually, like in the notes or whatever, I'm warned if there's an animal or something. There was
Yeah,
nothing.
they
I
should have to
was like
put in
not
there if they have
warned.
snakes or rodents. They should have to put it in the showing remarks.
Yeah,
It says
I
fair
could have a
warning.
rat allergy or something.
I remember this has nothing to do with real estate, but there was a house. It was a few towns over from where I live now. And this house, I don't remember why they got in trouble or why the news was there, but they pulled out, they were a breeder for both snakes and mice because they bred the mice to feed the
Oh,
snakes. And they were talking about like the number of snakes that they took out and the number of mice, and I about died.
oh my goodness. You know, I'm embarrassed to say this. My husband used to have snakes as pets, and I wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
And we had just moved into this neighborhood, and I'm, you know, getting the house ready and whatnot. And I hear a knock at the door, and this woman said, "Is that yours?" And I'm like, "What?" And one of the snakes got
Oh,
loose and was at the corner. Our house was on the corner, and she said that snake, and I wouldn't even touch him. I had to call my husband home, and I said, "Yeah, your snake got out, and it's sitting out
oh
in
my
the front
God.
there. I want to get it."
Was it like a python?
Boa.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, it was a littler one, but still, I wasn't picking it up. And that, you know, what a way to enter a neighborhood. Hi.
So it must be big enough that they would recognize it as a pet, right? Not
Oh, I'm
right,
sure. And she knew enough to knock on my door, like the new lady. Let's see
right.
if
We
it's
didn't
her.
have these
Nobody
before
else
she
did that.
came.
Right.
I can about imagine. Like, here comes the snake lady. I bet you have a nickname now.
Oh, I hope not.
But
Anything but that.
yeah, I can't. I don't know what I would do. Like, if somebody moved in next, and like for all I know, maybe my neighbors do have snakes. But if I saw one in their yard,
Oh, yeah.
anything else, I can handle anything else. But snakes and worms. Snakes and worms are my. I'm
Even
scared of them.
worms, huh?
Worms, yes. My daughter is 16, and we were cleaning at a cemetery last summer or last fall. And while we were washing off all the headstones, she was picking up all the worms and washing them off. And I'm like, why are you washing the worms? You're just going to put them back in the dirt. She goes, so they can see where they're going. And I'm like, do they even have eyes? She's just washing them off, and I'm just cringing because I can't handle them. So I think I'm onto something that they should put a warning in the MLS remarks for us agents that they have snakes. I mean, they put a note in if their dog's going to be there.
They
Why
do,
can't
or
they tell me if
cats.
their snake's
Don't
going
let
to
the
be there?
cats out, or
Or
yeah.
one time I went in and there was a big iguana sitting on the back of the couch.
Oh, no. Mm-mm. No, my husband had one of them too, but I'm deathly scared of them. Deathly.
Oh,
scared.
really?
Yes.
But not
Yes.
as bad of the snakes.
No, I can handle them a little bit better, but I heard a story about an iguana biting a woman's nose off, and that's all I had to hear. And I was like, no, we can't have that. I like my nose.
Yeah, I know my son wanted a bearded dragon for the longest time for Christmas, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, you're never having one of those.
Oh. You know, and
Anything but
cages
that.
only do so much. Obviously, they escape. Mine escaped, so
Right, you wouldn't think about that. Oh my God. I just can't imagine.
Mm.
All right, can you think of any other stories you want to tell me? What was the one we were talking about with property management? I'm sure you have a few from property management.
Oh, I don't know how funny that is, but we had a house that I guess it would, by today's standards, would be. We didn't call it hoarders back then, but it would have been. And I'm doing an inspection, and we had ceiling tiles. So me being me, there was some kind of staining, so I wanted to see what it was. So I used like a broom thing, and I popped the ceiling tile up, and it just started raining cockroaches. Literally, I screamed at the top of my lungs. I wouldn't even go back in there. I called the exterminator, and I said, I don't care. And oddly, we never got complaints from the neighboring units, so that means they were all like hanging up in that unit. But that was so gross.
Maybe.
So gross to me.
So have you touched one of those ceiling tiles since?
No,
I'm a little
well,
leery.
I never inspected an apartment and did that.
Yeah. I guess
As a matter of fact, I was afraid to open because we opened their cabinets too when they came out.
oh my
And
God.
I was mortified.
Yeah, we hear about those things like, people having cockroaches. It's more common in apartments,
Yes.
but I
Yeah.
guess I don't think I've ever seen one in my life, I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're not pretty at all. There's nothing about them and they crack when they hit the ground, It's
I think
really
they
gross.
hiss too, or at least there's some types that hiss.
Yeah, I don't think these hiss. That would have really, I was already having a nervous breakdown.
Oh, somebody says they're common in townhomes too.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I guess any adjoining units they're going to be
Right.
because you have. I think the very first time, but then I found out it was a palmetto bug. I think I was in Florida and saw what I thought was a roach. Somebody said, "No, that's a palmetto bug." I'm like, "Well, it looks like a roach to me. It's just bigger."
I'll have to look that up. I don't know what that looks like either. Well, that's like I was talking to somebody in the South, and it's common for them to have like lizards. Like we have like frogs and stuff outside, but they have like salamanders or lizards, some type of lizard that crawl around that. I don't think I could handle that either.
You know what? I go to Florida and I go with a friend of mine usually once a year, and her parents' house they crawl up the
side.
Side of their house. I actually like them. They're kind of cute and they run from you. So I'm good with that. They don't invade my space. So we get along.
Dark and you're walking outside.
Oh, that's oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's always something gross waiting behind the next door, I swear. Oh, somebody says those are a cousin to the cockroach, the bug you're talking about.
Oh, so they are related.
Right. They can call them whatever they want.
Yeah. And they're defending it, and it was a cockroach.
Oh my gosh, you gotta see what this lady says. There are some that are called the palmetto roaches and actually fly. They fly.
Okay. Well, I've got to tell my friend I'm not going to Florida with her this time.
And apparently we can't go to Arizona either because they have scorpions.
Oh my gosh.
I was
upset about a rat.
Maybe I'm okay in Wisconsin with the snow after all.
Serious. Scorpions, that would freak me out.
This one, Connie says she chased a lizard around the living room. I guess I'm happy where I live. I'll stay put. The snakes.
I can't believe she chased it for an hour.
I would too if it was in my house.
No, I would leave at one point. I can't do this. You what?
I'd be thinking to myself, you know what follows and probably eats those little lizards? Giant snakes.
Well, see, then you do want a snake for the lizard.
No. That's why I don't want the lizards, because then the snakes will come.
Oh my God. Yeah. I got a whole education on cockroaches, so I'm like...
I got a whole bunch I got to Google after the show, so.
Oh my goodness. I did have, you know what? I have to tell you this. When you're a young, naive property manager, when I probably was maybe 28, 29. I had my first eviction. And I was nervous, but I thought I was big and bad. So I go up to the door and I knock on the door, and the policeman's behind me. He said, "Please step away from the door." And I'm like, "Why? We're just here. We're fine." He goes, "No, ma'am, step away from the door." Well, by the time I stepped away, the guy came out with a knife.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Man, he didn't get me, obviously. I jumped at that point when I saw him. But my suggestion to all you newbie property managers is never go near the door. Let them do it.
Yeah, I guess I would have never thought of that. I suppose there's probably a lot of creepy stories about evicting people, especially now more than ever, probably with COVID and everything, and people.
Oh yeah,
fearful, that I'm sure that makes it worse.
Yeah, that's probably one of the hardest things to do when you're in property management.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I guess I don't ever think about that they're the ones that actually evict them. I always think of just the cops coming, but I guess you have to go too because you have to unlock the door.
Yeah.
right?
If they're not there, yeah. If they don't come
Right.
out with knives, you got to unlock the door.
You got to go in
Yeah.
without your knife. Oh my gosh. So many things that could go the wrong way.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to have
Thanks
to look
for
up,
having me.
what was that link again? It was
Sparkrental.com.
sparkrental.com. I'm going to have to look that up. And that's how they can find you and learn about real estate investing.
Absolutely.
All right. That's awesome. So I'm just going to pop you out and I'll be with you in a minute. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Had fun. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. So that's it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a fun talk about creepy things. I'm going to have nightmares tonight. Thank you very much. Somebody else Connie just posted that they used to have bears where she lived. So that, I'd take my chance with a bear over snake though, I think. But anyway, if you're in real estate and you have a funny story and you want to be on the show, please send an email to funnythingsre@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can contact me on any of the social media, and we'd love to have you on. So until next week, we'll see you next Wednesday. Have a good week. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. I'm having so much fun with the show and with real estate, and none of this would have been possible had I not partnered with Chuck and Angela Fazio with eXp Realty. They've helped me grow and are helping me build my business.
Yeah, it's our favorite thing to do, Sam. Chuck and I have been top realtors in the industry. We've run top teams. We actually had the second largest independent single office brokerage in the world, but we shut it down so that we can move it over to eXp. And so now we get to spend all of our time working with brilliant people like you, helping you build your business in a variety of ways. So if you're interested in hearing about what it means to partner with me, with Sam, with my husband, Chuck, Michael, Reese, Jay Kinder, it can be done. We can all work together. So just give us a call.